Hi, this is Evan from Digital Team Coach. I love discovering tools that help to improve our workflows. I want to tell you today about a tool that I've been using for a few months called StartInfinity. Now, you could just think of this as another task management tool, but it's really quite flexible, and I think it really bridges a gap between task management, online spreadsheets, and forms. Now, there are some tools around that are a bit like this. There's Airtable, Monday.com to extend. There's quite a few of these, but I'd love to show you a bit about StartInfinity, show you why I think it's a pretty cool tool and how you set it up and structure it. So StartInfinity, their catch cry is the one tool to organize all your work your way. So you work together with your team, storing everything in the one place, and you can organize projects the way that you want. Now, I see this as a bit of a mashup of something like Google Sheets, which is free, as well as Google Forms, which can integrate with Google Sheets. But it also has the feel of task management tools such as Trello, which is another free tool. So you're getting my drift here. Free tools can be really good, and they often do a few things really well. But if you want everything in the one place, then you need to often integrate tools really, really well, or find a tool that can bring those different features together. So StartInfinity is a bit of a combination between Google Sheets and Google Forms and the Kanban view tools like Trello. Now, let me tell you the benefits of StartInfinity. The way that you structure your tables, your data is really, really flexible and can help to structure your workflow and to improve the way that you work and display your data to your team. It helps you to have the right views for the right people at the right time. So let me show you how I am using StartInfinity. Here is an example of a board, and on the left hand side we have different folders. On the right hand side we have the view inside the folder. Seems fairly straightforward for the time being, and here is a table. It's a little bit like a Google Sheet or an Excel spreadsheet or something like that. Now, along the top we have different views that I have customized of the same data but displayed differently. This would be like having an Excel spreadsheet and having different columns hidden and shown. However, in StartInfinity, we can display data in several different ways. So here we've obviously got a table view, but we can also have a calendar view. We can have columns, which is a little bit like your sort of Kanban boards, your Trellos, that sort of thing. And you can also have a form to input data more easily as opposed to just going along in a row of a really large spreadsheet. So here we've got a table which I've called Future Posts. So this is my communications planning board for my social media, my emails, things like that. And I've set out a whole lot of different columns or attributes, and attributes can be text, they can be labels, they can be checkboxes, and a whole variety of different attributes. Here we've got links as well, attachments, date and time. So yeah, there's a mix of things here. And so here is a list of all the posts that I've got. Now you'll also see that I have a filter on here, and this particular filter, I've said that when I've have different stages set up for my communication calendar, for my future post one, I don't want to display any posts that are already finished. So in the future post one, if I've set the stage to finish, then I don't want to see that. I then got a finished post table that has the same filter, except it only shows the finished ones. So here under stages, where's my stages? I'm actually hidden stages at the moment, so that helps. Oh no, sorry, stages is there. And here I've got several stages in my planning process. And as you can see, once I hit finished, then it hides those ones. Now I've got a couple of excess ones here which I can remove. Let's take a look at the different attributes on the board. So the stages attribute here, let's edit that. And as you can see, we've got a couple of which we haven't really utilized, and I've just deleted them. So I can add new stages. So if after finish, for example, we might have an evaluation stage, I can add that on there. And maybe then it makes sense for that evaluation to happen before we sort of finish and archive a particular post. We've got the option to have multiple selections, or whether we allow new labels to be created on the fly or not. We can have the option that it can't be empty, or it can be empty. Then here we have just, for example, the name of a post. It's just, that's a text post in itself, a text attribute. This one, summary 3 points, is a longer text attribute. So here we have a list. If I want to add a new attribute, we've got a list here of ones that I've already created in this board, but I can create a new attribute. And here you can see date, labels, which is like tags, a checkbox on or off, short text, long text, checklist. So checklist can be good for ticking off different things, add links, attachments, have a number field. For example, if it's a number field, then you can filter by being above or below or equal to a particular number. Progress, rating, phone formula. So there's a few things here. And reference by is useful if you want to reference items or rows from a different table or different folder. So we've got the table view here. As you can see, with some of these, we've got dates for when I want to publish these posts, these social media posts. And I've assigned dates here. And when I've set up a different view, here's a calendar view of these posts. So this is the same data, but it's displayed in a calendar view, which is pretty nifty. And then I can select any of these posts in here, and you can see all the information here as well. So now you're starting to see, okay, we've got data that can be displayed in different ways, and we can start to filter them. So what this means is when I'm creating these and I'm wanting them, particularly when I'm working with different people, I'm collaborating with people, I can set up different views for the different stages that they're at. So for example, some of these posts, I'm creating videos such as this one. This is getting a bit meta. So using StartInfinity, and I've set it that here we're up to the video production stage, which is what I'm doing, and I can change that as I go. And if there's a video required, I've ticked that box there. I've also said these are the channels that I'm going to be distributing this post, and then I can add more information as I go. Now, I've then created a view for videos to shoot, which filters to only display the posts that have video required on there as a checkbox, and that are still in the earliest stages of planning. So if I've already shot the video, then I don't want to see these videos that still require shooting. And then I'm also sorting this data by the publish date, so I can see which ones are most urgent and need to come first. So here is the order, 5th, 9th, 18th, and 23rd. Now with these views, we can also customize which of the attributes that we display, and for some of them, how we display them as well. So this might be a bit overload. I don't need to see every single attribute, every single column here in this table. So what I can do is I can switch on and off the items or the attributes that I do or don't want to see. So for example, I might not need to see who the audience is. I probably don't need to see what the channel is. I probably want to see a title. Attachment doesn't mean too much. Publish date could be useful. Day of the week, I'm not really using that, and body. So as you can see, that's now shrunk this table a fair bit. To gain more room on the screen, I can just hide this folder view here. So we get more screen real estate there. Then we have, this is another view by day. I'm not really using this view, but it could be interesting if, for example, I've got different posts, different post categories that I'm doing on different days of the week. Then I could see that at a glance if I've put a day of the week in there. So as you can see, all of them are basically uncategorized, but I could move this one, for example, to display on a Monday. And when I've changed that and moved that across, you will see that for Monday, oh, actually that's a finished post. Monday is now the day that's set there. So if I update part of any data or add new data or edit it in any view, that will also then straight away be reflected in other views as well. So it's pretty powerful and pretty good. Here I've got the channels. So again, it's just like the same information, but grouping it in different ways, sorting it in different ways. Here is just a straight list view of the data. This looks a little bit more messy, but that could be useful if I want just a shrunk down version of these items and just displayed in a different way. And here's that checkbox. So that doesn't really make sense for the video required to be displayed there. Checkbox doesn't mean much. I'm going to turn that off. Now, the view that we haven't seen here is a form view. So let's create a new view. It will be form, and I can add a cover. I could add a logo, and what we do here is just to, oh, there we go, cool. Let's move that video required down because that's probably not as important. So here's a form that we can have that instead of adding an item inside a table, I could just add it in here instead. And there's some other views that we can see here. And that's already done. So we can preview that and we can create that now. So for example, let's just say example post, that's the name. You don't have to give it 3 points. That was just my description for it. Just for myself, I like to do things with 3 points. Here's a day. Here are some channels we're selecting. So multiple labels on that one. The stage though is just a single selection, not multiple selection, because you can only be at one stage at a time. Let's select the audience. That can be multiple audiences. And the category, I've just got different categories for different content pieces. Media, I can add links and attachments as well. And then I hit submit. That's done. And here in future posts, we can see here's that example post that I've created. So this can be really useful because I can share my boards either with people externally and as a guest to a public board, or I can invite people to be members of a board with different levels of permissions and restrictions. So, and another feature is if I wanted to share this board publicly, I can make that available publicly to anybody, but I can also add a add a password on. So I can say the board is public, but I want to add a password so only people who have the password can access this board at the moment. And then we can also, there's some limited permissions that can be given to guests, such as we don't want them to be able to edit everything. They could create their own, or maybe we just allow them to add comments. So another feature is within each comment within each item, you can comment on an item as well, and it keeps the activity history. Just to finish this part off, we can have a shareable link or an embed link to share this board publicly. Now, let me show you the comments just because we've mentioned that now. I won't save all that for the time being. Within an item here, such as example post, we have comments here. And I could leave a comment and anyone then who accesses this can see the comment. We also have an activity log. So everything that happens to this item gets saved along the way, which is really good for that historical data, which can be helpful in some circumstances. So that's a bit of a snapshot of StartInfinity. Then you can have multiple tables which have, multiple folders which have different attributes, and they can be referenced and shared across them as well. There's some really fun things you can do with filtering. So if I want to add a new filter, I could say that if this is coming up in the next month, then we only display things that are in this month, or that might be before a particular date, or maybe after a particular date. If something is a number, or we don't have a number here, but then you could do that. If the stage, sometimes, so if you've got labels, then you can say if the label has this or is any of these ones. There's quite a lot you can do with the with this filtering, and then you can even narrow down on the filtering with an and or an or statement as well. So yeah, this is I found this to be a really useful tool. I've got some boards which I've set up specifically just for myself and my immediate team. And then I've got a board which I share to some clients. So that's set up as a public board, but with a password on there, so only clients can access that one. Or if I wanted to, I could invite the clients directly in to view that. So that's StartInfinity. I hope you found this demo really useful. It's a really interesting tool, lots of different possibilities to help you with your data, with your workflow, with collaborating with team members, suppliers, clients, members, customers, whoever it is that you work with and collaborate with. So I'd love to hear from you. If you'd like access to the product, I can give you a special code. If you need help setting it up, if you want to figure out how this can work for you and your team. Also, if you use a tool like this or other similar tools, I'd love to hear what they are and how you use them to improve the way that you work with others as well. Thank you so much for your time today, and I look forward to speaking with you soon.